All right, good morning. Welcome back to Twin Stick Garage. Thanks for joining me in another episode where I work on these variety of projects. Today I'm going to do some more work on the Trans Am. But first, I'm going to have to get the Snowman truck out of the way. And I wanted to give you a quick update. I've been doing a lot of work on the Iron Duke cab over project. Look at those pipes. And most recently, I was installing the Conmet preset hubs, which turned out just beautifully. I also had to put in some new S-cams because the plastic bushings that were in there were toast. So if you want to check that episode out, go take a look at my Patreon. The link's down below. I still got to get that 6-speed that came out of my Peterbilt a few episodes ago. I got to get that off to the gear center. Man, there's lots that needs doing. But like I said, I'm going to get the Smokey and the Bandit truck started, put it out in the snow, and then I can start working on the Trans Am. Make this snappy, Mark. You're losing all your heat. So loyal. Man, what a beautiful morning. Winter's sure hanging on though. It's just not letting go. Oh well, spring will be here soon enough. Sorry to leave you outside, Snowman.
It's okay.
Smoky old Cummins. Smoking up my shop. Actually, I should probably look at investing in some vent fans for the back wall here. Project for another day. All right, so first up on the agenda is, you'll recall in the last episode I removed the fuel tank, and you can see the fuel tank was protecting the underside, at least in these spots, from the road salt, but everywhere else has just been eaten away from years of driving this on Alberta roads. So what I did, I went over to Princess Auto and I picked myself up a new needle scaler because my old one kind of, I wore it out needle scaling the tandems for the Snowman trailer. And this worked actually really good. I actually tried it out in the last episode when I cleaned off all the rust and crust on the hubs on the Duke. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now, needle scaling is effective, but it's not the funnest job. It is loud as hell, and it's just messy because the dust and rust goes everywhere. So I'll suit up with some PPE and get started. My shoulders are sure getting a good workout, but it's cleaning it up, knocking some of the rust off of there. Now I'm still deciding if I'm going to go with POR 15. I might do POR 15, paint over rust. It's the same stuff I used on the Duke there. Now I might use that because rust never sleeps, as Neil Young says. I might use POR on the frame rails, but maybe the rest of it, I might just use that same undercoating stuff that I used on the inside of the trunk lid on the previous episode. Now, with the leaf springs, so of course I'm missing the back sway bar here, but with the leaf spring, well, I should give you an update on what's going on. So I've actually reached out to QA1 and they're gonna send me some front suspension parts for this car. So it's going to have upper and lower control arms, new coilovers. What else? I think it's a new front sway bar, but the back is still going to be these leaf springs. I am getting some new coilovers from them. So I'm not sure if I'm going to leave the leaf springs, or I might consider going with a stage 3 sys setup, but then that gets a little more complicated because I'll have to get my buddy Blake there to weld on some brackets. But then it's a true, 4-link suspension instead of leaf springs. But we'll see. For now, we'll leave this as is. Well, I guess maybe that's something else I got to get working on, as well as I got to pull the diff out of here. I got to check the gearing, make sure I have decent gears. I may get the gear center to give this a once over, and if it's not the right ratio, we may change that as well. Oh, there's just so much to do, but I'm gonna try and stay focused and just keep grinding away on the needle scaling, and work my way all the way to the front here. Not the funnest job, but definitely a necessary evil. Now for these greased up sections on the front, I wonder, instead of a needle scaler, well, maybe I scrape it first. Years of leaking rear main seals and transmissions. At least the steel underneath is in good condition, thanks to this coating. All right, let's try another tool in the old toolbox. See if I can't make a mess with a wire wheel. And I thought holding up the needle scaler was hard on the arms. Doing that is, like I say, it's a good arm workout, but man, it's efficient. It's sure taking all those years of crap and oil and dirt off of there, and it's making a nice clean base to spray the undercoating on here later. Yeah, I'll get the underside of this car looking tip top by the end of the day. Oh, What a nasty job, but it's very gratifying. The wire wheel is actually very efficient at this. I mean, it sends the crap everywhere. I'm just completely coated in it. But it's getting all the junk off the underside, which is just awesome. Yeah, that should, like I say, really accept the paint nicely. So what I might do now is, well, I should probably, there's a few more spots. Finish the job, Mark, before you start painting. So I'll go and touch up a few of the spots that I missed, and then I'll dig out that Pour 15 and start painting that on there. Ah, it's a good movie. You done good, didn't you, Fred? All right, so next up I thought I'd get rid of these old crusty fuel lines, because as I've mentioned, I'm gonna go with a new fuel tank and a new Holley sniper system that I believe comes with all new lines. So I'm gonna get these crusty lines off of here, and that'll allow me to get in behind there and clean the frame rail even better. It's inevitable you get a mouthful of something working underneath an old car. And where's my socket? Oh, come on. Really? Close. How many did I miss? Oh, of course, leaking gas too. That reminds me of the good old days when I used to go dancing with Mrs. Princess back in the early 2000s. What a ridiculous amount of dust and road sand and all kinds of crap. Oh, God. All right. Let's get some air movement. Oh, the air is crunchy. Look at that haze. Well, I'm pretty happy I discovered that. Using the air nozzle to go into various holes in the frame just blows all that sand and silt out of there. So it'll be a lot cleaner. All right, I think I'm gonna let this shop air out a bit, let this dust settle. Maybe go have a sandwich and then come back and start some painting. So I thought I might try and clean up this lip that's just badly bent all to hell. See if I can't use a hammer and dolly and try and clean it up a bit. Use the flat part, Mark. I'm not trying to make a, what do they call that, rotisserie restoration. I'm just trying to do a poor man's restoration. Kind of learning as I go. And making it the best that I can with what I got. Skills, tools, and otherwise. Okay, time to do some painting. So this is my Pour 15 paint that I like to use. They're not a sponsor, I wish they were, but that's okay. So you just paint this stuff right all over the rust. Now the thing about Pour 15 is it's kind of like, what do you call that, anti-seize, because it gets everywhere, and inevitably you end up touching the wet paint somehow, and then it takes over a week to come off of your skin. It's just unreal stuff. But it works, so that's why I like to use it. Now you can paint over it once it's on there. You can't spray it though. The guy at the paint shop said this stuff can't be sprayed. It's got to be brushed on. But then after it dries and hardens, you can actually paint whatever color you want over top of it.
Once again, just tap a little color into it, and let's go back up here and still using our little crisscross strokes.
Getting nasty, baby. So this is just a rust check high build stone shield. I picked it up at Princess Auto. It's about, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks a can. But it kind of gives that rubberized undercoat look, which I like. So I'll just keep spraying here and try not to get too distracted by the entertainment. Now I'm not going to paint the diff because, as I mentioned, the diff's going to come out of here and go to the gear center for rebuild, so I'll leave that unpainted for now. Now, I can't do the whole front because, as I mentioned, I'm going to be getting new A-arms and I'll be redoing the front end. So what I'll do, when I take all that apart, I can paint the rest of whatever I missed at that point, because this stuff's all going away, upper and lower. I'll have to clean this up a little better. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how far I got today. So now what I'll do is I'll just go around and see if there's any spots that I missed, but I think it's looking pretty darn good. Well, there you go. Underside of Bandit 1 is looking pretty sharp, if you ask me, compared to where I started today. Oh man. And look at that pile of dirt. That's all the crap that came off the car. Alright, I'm gonna let it air out a little. Oh, smells like paint in there. Get some of those fumes out, and then I got one more project to tackle today. So, 400 cubic inch Pontiac engine. This engine has a date with Butler Performance down in Tennessee. So I'm gonna I've got to crate this thing up and I'm gonna send that to them and they're going to do a bunch of machine work. I believe there's something that needs to happen. Oh, come on, spin. In order, because, so right now, if you remember when I rebuilt this, or I haven't rebuilt it yet. When I took this apart, the pistons were already 35 over. So we're probably gonna go another 5 thou just to clean up all the cylinders. And then they're gonna sell me a stroker kit. So it's gonna be a 461 cubic inch, I think, by the time we're done. And in order for the stroker crankshaft, which I call it a stroker for those that don't know because it has a longer stroke, I think because it's going to be swinging a little farther, I think they have to do a little machining somewhere in the block. Now, I know they're going to explain it all, but something in the block needs to be machined in order to accommodate that stroker crank. And then they're going to line bore it, deck it, do the whole thing, replace all the frost plugs, and put in new cam bearings. And yeah, it's going to be a whole kit that I'm going to get with this engine, aluminum heads, the whole 9 yards. It's going to be at least, they figure north of 500 horsepower and maybe 600 foot-pounds of torque. So like I was saying, it is going to be a monster, and it is going to move this car down the road like you wouldn't believe. So what I need to do is, what I'm thinking is I might steal that pallet and maybe hack off a foot of it, just set that old 301 on the ground. And then I got some plywood, and I'm going to try and build a crate around it. So it's at least it's somewhat protected, and then I'll call the shipping company, and then they can send this down to Butler. Can't wait. Not my best work, but it'll do. It's just a crate. My dad, who's probably built a dozen houses in his life, is probably just yelling at the screen right now. Oh, that's awful. But it's solid, and it should keep it protected. So I guess I can call the shipper now and get this sent off to Butler. So with that, I am pretty beat. I'm happy with how much I got done today, and happy enough to figure it's time for a little treat. Oh, is there any beer left in this thing? Oh yeah. Look at that, it's even got foam still. Oh, that tastes so good after a hard day at work and dust and grinding. Now Bandit 1's one step closer. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for following along. Don't forget to go check out the ATHS, the American Truck Historical Society, aths.org. Become a member. And with that, I'll bid you farewell. Hope to see you next week. Thanks again for watching. Oh, and I just had to bump my head one more time. Appreciate if you comment below, hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and see you next week. And don't ever forget, if you got it, truckers brought it.
Come on, dust it off, Mikey, dust it off! I thought your Tinto had more meat under the hood than this. Come on. Hit the blower.